52. And we got the bell bottoms, man.
That is awesome. I love it, dude. I love it.
Yeah. Look, it's Snoop Dogg. It's Snoop Dogg Wonder Joint. For those of you watching the show on YouTube, it's Snoop Dogg Wonder Joint right there, man. Look at that. It just stays lit. It's crazy. It's an homage of Snoop on the Stoop, man.
Dude, I have created more conversation by telling people to get on Amazon and check out the Snoop on the Stoop.
Really?
That is a conversation starter if there ever was one. So
right on, dude.
Everybody go out and look it up. If you didn't see last week's podcast, we did the unboxing of the Snoop on the Stoop.
Snoop on the Stoop, man.
It's pretty spectacular.
We should tell Snoop, like, hey, dude, we get some residuals off that because we're pimping out your product.
Yeah, so just for the record, he's not giving it away. It's $50.
No, yeah, it's $50, man.
He wants to... Yeah.
He'll make more money off his Snoop on the Stoop than he will on his music that's downloaded.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because the profit margin has to be astronomical.
Which is just funny. Yeah, because you buy that shit, you make that shit in bulk. I'm sure it's nothing cost-wise.
Oh, hell no. And then, unfortunately, they send it to a factory in China, and, you know, it goes down to just pennies.
I didn't check the label to see where it was made. I should have done that.
Pretty certain it wasn't made in the United States because profit margin just goes to shit on an item like that. You know, we're just not competitive.
No, we're not. We're not. We need those tiny little hands in Bangladesh to sow the seeds, you know. And it has, you know, the funny thing is like Nikki's actually moving it around and shit too, so that's kind of cool that I have it in some spots and she has it in some spots, and you know, it's kind of fun that it actually she's playing along because, you know, she doesn't always play along with my stupid shit.
It's fun,
but she's playing along this time, so that's cool, man.
I was just thinking about the last line of Free Man, which, you know, I've thought about a lot over many years, but it just hit me today because I'm looking at you. And no, Chris is never afraid to tell you about the insane part of his brain. Luckily for us, you know, he's a kinder, gentler, insane guy, but he's not afraid to.
I'm gonna tell you about my insanity.
Be the center of attention, as they say. It takes a certain kind of personality to want to be a front man, and you have to want to be one. You can't just go up there and go,
right?
Hello?
Hello, I'm here today to sing you songs.
Yeah, I'm going to sing a couple ditties.
Sing a couple songs.
You got to get up there and go, hey, it's Friday night, and we're at the Mason Jar, and it's party time. We're playing rock and roll and giving beers away, and fuck yeah, let's go.
Right? It's like, who wants a free beer, man? And the first time I did that, remember that when I asked the crowd who wanted a free beer, nobody responded. And I'm like, maybe you don't understand. I'm giving away a free pitcher of beer. So whichever one of you screams the loudest, I'm going to point at you, and you're going to go to the bar and get a free pitcher of beer. And then I did it again. The entire house screamed. I'm like, well, fuck, that didn't work. So I just had to randomly pick people. And then they got wind of it, the jar and other bars and shit. You can't do that, man. You know, you can't do that. You can't buy so many beer, liability. I'm like, well, that's fucking stupid. So
yeah, but we circumvented that system too.
We did. We had somebody from the band, like the family of the band, like it was either, you know, Nikki or somebody else, you know, hung out with us that would actually go to the bar and pay for the beer
and deliver it to the patron.
Yeah.
Yes,
and that fixed said problema.
We were smarter than your average bears.
We are, you know. That's you know, musicians aren't stupid, you know.
Do you remember the night we were opening for Sacred Reich and you did that and nobody? It was like crickets.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, that was the night.
Yeah,
and because that you ended that conversation by saying, Jason, feel free to kick their ass if you want.
Yeah.
because a lot of people in the crowd didn't know that the rhythm guitar player for Sacred Reich was our sound man.
Exactly. And it's like really, I think
he's standing right there.
I think back then though, I think it was an anomaly for a band to actually give something to the crowd, right? I don't think they understood that hey, no, really, you're gonna get a beer. Like this is legit. Like we would throw T-shirts and stickers and shit out, but I think that that nobody. I don't remember ever going to a show in that era that somebody did that. So I
don't either. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, so that may have just been our thing, and it was, and I just did it because I figured it was a way to get.
It was a cheap way to get people back.
Well, that just to get them more engaged and like, hey, like that's something to go home and tell your buddies about. Dude, I saw Nemesis last night. The fucking singer, man, he gave away a pitcher of beer. I just had to scream really loud. And like, really, dude? Oh,
that's all it required.
They're playing again, man. Let's go. It's people overthink stuff, and I think that night they were overthinking it. I never wanted. Anytime we opened for Sacred Reich, it was a different crowd, right? It was a unique crowd because we weren't Sacred Reich, and we weren't even in their same
genre,
right? I was going to say musical wheelhouse, but yeah. But I
like yours too.
We could still hang with them because we appealed to everybody. So once we started playing more songs, and once we got to our heavy shit, then it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we played heavy enough riffs with melodic vocals. You weren't screaming.
No.
But, really neither was Phil. So I think that's why a lot of people came back, and I think that's why we got a lot of opening slots with them because, like you said, we were just unique enough. And for the people that are listening and, don't have any concept of what we're talking about, Sacred Reich is a very heavy band. They're kind of one of the original thrash bands out of the late 80s, 1987, I believe. And they were heavy, but they were melodic as well. And Phil didn't scream either, really. He sang.
Yeah.
If you think about The American Way or Surf Nicaragua or Independent, he's not screaming.
No.
He's kind of talking really loud.
Right. I call that speak singing, right? Because a lot of people weren't doing that. Yeah, a lot of people weren't doing that back then either. So, I was speak singing for the most part. On not everything we did, but there was some stuff that I did that was.
You used it very effectively, I would like to say.
Thank you.
Yeah. To break up the melody or, to distinguish between one idea to another, you would change voices. I always thought that was really cool.
Oh, right on. Thank you.
It was almost like there was different people singing, which would inspire me to play something different than even I might have otherwise.
Right.
Because playing through the songs that we finished, there's pieces where I'm like, I remember the way I wrote it, and now it is how it is just because of the way the melody went.
So many things evolved that people don't realize when you're writing music. So many things evolve once the entire band comes together to start forming the song. Because I start lyrically, you start melody, riffs on your guitar, and then you and I come together, and then then once you bring in the drums and the bass, other bands, keyboards, and all the other instruments and shit. That, speaking of which, squirrel moment. So Nikki and I were going to the Halloween party, and Prince came on the radio.
Yeah, we can't overlook why you're dressed like this. We've been 8 minutes into this, and the people are going, "Hey,
this is how I normally dress, people. I don't have any hair, so I can afford wigs. So this is just how I am today. I'm a hippie. I'm actually going to wear this to the office. Right, I'm going to wear this to the office tomorrow just to see the look on people's faces.
That's awesome.
So we were driving to the Halloween party, and Prince came on. Okay. So we've talked about Prince before, and most of the world should know that Prince was a musical genius.
Absolutely.
And I use that loosely because I think it was more than just genius. But on the song Kiss, right? Kiss. I told Nikki, I'm like, there's a strong probability that he played every single instrument on this track as it recorded. And she and I have had that conversation before, kind of like Kid Rock and play every instrument and stuff, and he's done so on some of his songs. But we kind of started talking about building a song and how I could never in my right mind, right, hear everything that Prince would hear in his head, right? when I was in my groove of writing music and lyrics and shit and melodies and whatnot, I would hear the melody in my head, right? And then I would write the song lyrics off that. It'd take me 2-3 minutes after that, because you just got the muse going, right? And blank paper, boom, all of a sudden there's a song.
Right.
And then I give it to you, and we've talked before how the innate ability you had to just take the emotional content from my song, how you interpret it, which 9 out of 10 times was accurate, and here's the riff for it, and here's the music for it. Imagine someone like Prince, right? Any song. It's a simple song. Like, he didn't write Purple Rain, but like Little Red Corvette, okay, which is a really cool song. And so many innuendos in that song because it's all about sex and one-night stands and shit, He got a little nervous about the jockeys that were there before me, all the Trojans, all the used Trojans of the jockeys that were there before me, which is a total innuendo about.
Of course.
He's diddling a chick that has a wastebasket in her bathroom with 4 or 5 condoms, and because they were the jockeys and those were the Trojans. But the musical aspect of that and how his brain worked and how he had to hear every single piece, kind of like Mozart, right? Mozart would hear every single piece, at least we understand from the stuff we've watched and read about him. He would understand every little piece that had to go into the things that he was creating. So people like Prince and Kid Rock and other musicians, because I'm sure there's more that can play every single instrument and have done so. But just imagine that. You wake up and think, oh, write the lyrics for Little Red Corvette, and then I'm going to put the guitar like this, and I'm going to put the bass like this, and the drums like this, and the keyboard, and this and that, and then the maracas, and this shit, and that shit, and I'm going to put this all together. I'm going to spend a day and a half in the studio recording every single track, and then it just comes together. That shit just blows my mind.
Well,
and knowing what we know.
It's even more deep than that, because there's a lot of people that can do what you described to a point, right?
Right.
He played all those instruments at a level that a studio musician would have to play it, because that's what the label requires, right?
Right.
Not only did his brain think of that, but he played those instruments at a level that was required by a label that at the time had a stranglehold on the artist. If you weren't releasing a product that they liked, they would get you a producer and they would hire you studio musicians. This guy played at a level that was above or beyond anybody that could come in and do any of those instruments.
Right, which is why I said I used the term genius loosely, because he was more than a genius. I don't know what's the next step up from genius, but
he was definitely channeling somehow.
But just amazing, and it's so sad he's dead. He's such an amazing such an amazing artist, man. Just fucking mind blowing.
I agree.
So that was that squirrel moment. So 52 episodes. We've been doing this now for a year.
Yes,
and actually a year and a week, because we missed an episode while I was on vacation.
Yeah, we started October 16th, 2023.
Yeah,
I looked it up on Riverside.
So here we are, boys and girls, a year into the show, man.
1 year.
1 year. So what kind of moments do you recall over this past year there, Mr. Michaels?
So since I get to see the analytics,
right,
we are in 11 different countries, including the United States. So 10 countries outside the United States.
Which is cool.
I don't remember how many states, but it's more than 50%. So I think it was 32 the last time I counted. And then you can go into each state and
look at the cities and stuff.
Yeah, just crazy amounts of cities in all these different states and all these different countries. It's really cool. So for the people that tune in, we truly appreciate it, because Chris has said it before, and I'll say it again. We could just talk to each other on the phone and have these same conversations like we've done since we met each other. So it's really cool that you're interested in whatever we're interested in. And if you have topic ideas or you want to be on the show, definitely reach out. Facebook, Instagram. Well, apparently we have an Instagram reel that's going crazy right now. So we truly appreciate the people that found that humorous and educational at the same time.
Right. The fuck ton, man. Who would have thought?
The fuck ton is going still at about 100 plays an hour, and there's not a lot of replays. So we're approaching 10,000 views on that one. So thank you guys for checking that out.
Absolutely,
and we had fun doing it.
And the thing about the replays, the cool thing about the replays is that's when they watch it and they watch it again.
Sure.
So that's
it's just cool to have a lot of unique views too.
Yeah.
You know? And those people, some of those people have, gone over to Spotify and followed us there. So thanks for that.
Yeah, 9,900 something. It's 9.9K right now, so it's approaching 10,000.
Hey, watch it 100 more times and I'll get another badge. Woohoo!
Right. It's been replayed. It's been replayed almost 1,100 times. So
nice. The last time I saw it was like 700 or something.
Yeah,
900.
So we're at 9,865 plays. 8,700 of those were initial plays, and then they were replayed 1,077 times, which is fucking cool, man. And it's just because we talked about a metric fuck ton, and the American Heritage Dictionary. We were educating the masses, man.
We were. Somehow it came up in conversation, and I said that's a technical term, and Chris verified it with the American Heritage Dictionary. It was great.
Yeah.
All live on the spot.
Right. Now, a funny little thing about Snoop on a Stoop.
Okay.
He has been played. I just put this up Sunday, I think. 676 times. And it's been replayed 124 times. So that's another little one that's it's just baby stepping right now, but you never know. And hey, so eventually I learned on my personal YouTube channel, which is at Chris Dunham for those of you who don't know.
Go subscribe.
I hit 1,500. I almost have 1,800 subscriptions now. So my community tab opened up.
Okay.
The cool thing about the community tab is whenever you do anything now, I can throw shit up to the community. It's a whole different vibe. So you have the videos, and then you have the shorts and the playlist, and then you have community. So we need to aspire to get our community, our subscriptions higher. So then we can open our community stuff, and we can drop little 15, 30-second segments. We can do all kinds of different things. It's kind of like how Facebook has Reels.
Okay.
That's a short on YouTube, but now this has a community tab where it's just game on. So we have to work on that. Yeah, we got to work on that, people.
Yeah, so the 1,500 people that are loyal subscribers at the Chris Dunham, just cruise on over to the Chris and Mike show.
Cruising over.
Just click the subscribe button.
I put stuff on there, so I'll have to start dropping some more of our little snippets of the shows and stick them in my shorts there and point people this way.
And I know I try and add humor as I go, but I truly mean it when I say definitely go subscribe to his YouTube channel, because I use his YouTube channel more than I use anything, and I maintain Facebook for the most part. Chris gets up there, but he's got a lot of other shit going on.
Right.
And I also do a lot of the Instagram. Chris posted the one to Instagram that went crazy, and however you tag that thing and put us together, I think that helped a lot. So maybe keep doing that.
Yeah. I'm learning all kinds of things about all the social media stuff as I go along. So
I was sad when I went to your YouTube channel and I saw that it didn't have very many views there at all. I'm like, why did he not tag it and like tie those two together here? Or can you not do that?
I don't know. I don't. When I put it on the YouTube, I don't know. I have to go back and look at that. YouTube's weird, man, because you get it's that attention span thing, right? It's the quick and like when
I got you.
When I do some of my stuff on YouTube business wise, I blast them on YouTube because I want to be relevant when people are searching for homes and the keywords and stuff. So I don't know how YouTube would work with that. We'd have to do it on the Chris and Mike YouTube channel because we want to drive people to that instead of mine, because then you have organic growth on Chris and Mike show.
No, what I'm saying is are you not able to, like, you tag a couple of us together on Instagram.
Right, I made us collaborators. I made from I collaborate.
And YouTube's independent, so you can't do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Instagram asks you if you want to add a collaborator, which I didn't realize until that one.
Okay, I need to start doing that too.
Right. I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know you could do that. Because again, it's just I learn as I go. Like
I am too.
So
we're all learning right here.
Right, and I didn't grow my channel, my personal channel, the right way because again, I have stuff that's like 67,000 views. So you think I would have 67,000 subscribers, but I didn't.
Yeah, that's not the way it works, though.
I never did it right. I never did like, hey, subscribe because I've been put it this way. I've been on YouTube since 2002.
That's a long time.
Right, because back in then, everybody was saying...
Chris was like taking hammer and chisel, and that's how you uploaded to the YouTube back then.
Right, but see, everybody was saying back then that the videos were going to be the next thing, like when you do Google searches. And they're still saying it's going to be the next thing. I think the dynamic now is because artificial intelligence is out there, so the spiders that Google has is going differently than it used to. Because there's still shit that I did. I mean, you know, stuff I did with Jake, the Arizona house detective. I had him walk around houses and I'd film him. I mean, that shit still pops up. It's crazy. But it's the relevance of the keywords and the SEO content that I did back then specifically for the houses. And I'm boring myself talking about this. So let's talk about something else.
I was going to say we squirreled all the way out of episode 52.
God, that's fucking terrible. I know.
Here, I'll give you a pop. I'll give you a pop question. After 1 year, what does this podcast mean to you, and why do you still do it?
I do it because I like hanging out with you. It's a good.
Stole my fucking answer.
It's a good. It's a good creative outlet for me because we know that I need that.
Yes.
And that gets me high, for lack of a better term. It's and I just it's just something that we both look forward to, and I think because we both have the same mindset about so much stuff, but then we're still collectively different with so much stuff.
Oh yeah.
It makes for good conversation, and whether people believe it or not, we're never ever once have we ever been irritated with one another.
Not once.
After, during,
it's almost before, fucking during, eerie.
Right, because we just it's like legit. We just by the way, your mom's birthday's coming up. Happy birthday, Kay.
Oh yes, happy birthday, Mama Kay.
So it's just got to be. It really just has to be. We're such old. I think we're old souls. So I think that we've our paths have crossed. This is a hippie moment. In many other lifetimes, and I think when the way we found each other in this lifetime, I guess I get chills. It's so fucking random. Like,
you guys have no idea. You have no idea how.
Right.
This you would have had to have been there to even feel what he's feeling right now, because I have goosebumps all over my body every time he says that. It's just
because. I
didn't know him from Adam, and he was standing right behind me, and then we shared the stage like 1,000 times together. So
you just right, and it's not. It's like when we found Rick, right? We put an ad out, like you put an ad for a musician. I mean, this.
It was a cattle call of bass players.
Right. This was such a random. I mean, so many things had to line up for that to happen, for that meeting to happen. It had to, because it just. It was meant to be. It was karmic. It was fate. It was whatever the fuck you want to call it. It was, and we're still meant to be in each other's lives to this day. And that, I mean, that's 92, and this is 24.
Yes.
Right. I mean, what was that 30 years ago? 30 plus years ago, and we're still
almost 30. It was 94. I got there in 93.
Okay.
So you joined the band in like late 94.
Yeah. So. Aside from, taking over the world and being billionaires, we were just, we should have done, but we weren't supposed to.
We're not done yet.
Right. Well, we weren't supposed to then. So, and on that avenue for whatever reason. And I don't think either one of us would have survived.
I think that's
I don't think
problem.
Scott would have survived. I think we would have been a behind the music, falling off the rails.
Yeah, there's no question that him or I could have come home in a body bag pretty easy. And I guess if you were left unattended and we were all drinking and doing drugs together out on the road, that could have been pretty bad. Yeah,
and I just for whatever reason, I look at that, I think about that moment every now and then, and it's baffling that. Because imagine if the stage didn't go out, if the power didn't go out, right? Then I would have continued rocking out with Kevin and singing along and shit.
Yeah, there never would have been a moment for you and I to interact.
No, and then if I would have, bounced and went to take a piss, then there's no guarantee I would have came back to the same spot on the floor, because it was general admission. We were just standing probably.
Yeah, there was no seats.
We were standing probably 10 feet from the stage,
It was a big theater is what it was, basically.
Yeah. It was like,
that side of it.
Yeah. So, maybe 1,500, 2,000 people just there. And it wasn't like, holy shit, I'm boxed in. It was just you could stand comfortably and, nobody was moshing. It wasn't that kind of vibe. It was Candlebox. They're not a mosh band. They're more of a storytelling rock band.
Yeah, they just write good songs.
Right. So there's there's so many nuances, man, that you could have went and got a beer and came back to a different spot, And it's again, goosebumps, chills, because it's one of those things, that it was supposed to happen, which is cool. And even though we weren't in each other's lives for a while, it's still that we circled back, and it just
always throughout the years. It's weird. It's not like we just, for the people that are listening, it's not like 30 years went by and I never talked to Chris.
No,
we would check in, make sure everybody was, each other was still doing okay, and are you still alive? You still breathing? Cool. Here's what I'm doing. And then several years would go by and we'd do the same thing, and technology caught up with us, and I fell in love with podcasts because I loved to learn. I read all the time when I was a kid because I was sick all the time. So just like you, we had that in common.
But see, I didn't read. I mean, I watched movies. I watched TV shows and shit.
Well, I read books.
Right. So I was kind of like the cable guy, and you were like, you were like the fucking bookworm. It was the whole, because but to me, that's where the imagination. That's where my creative juices started flowing, because I would pretend, I'd be watching.
Oh, yeah. I lived in that imaginary world of all those books.
Right. And I lived it through the movies. I remember fucking sitting on the side of the couch, a big old couch armchair, pretending I was a cowboy watching a cowboy movie, just because I was home alone so much as a child, man, because of my asthma being so bad. It was just, I'd have to entertain myself, because there was 3, 5, 8, 10, and 12, and 15, 6 channels on TV. And most of them were soap operas, other than Channel 5 had like all the Andy Griffith Show, I Love Lucy, the Gilligan's Island, Addams Family, Munsters, all these weird little action theater and
as my mom would say, all the good shows.
Yeah, totally, man. And
she would. She's saying it right now as she's listening.
Right,
all
but
the good shows.
Yeah, but that's just how I lived my days when I was homesick, man, and I couldn't go outside and play and shit. It's just I became part of that, so I think that was just how I evolved. And you evolved by books and fucking expanding your mind that way. It was just two different.
And then I started playing guitar at like 10 years old, 11. I was still riding my bicycle, so I know it was pretty young.
Yeah, that's one thing you would have. That's one thing I wish I would have. Wish somebody would have put a guitar in my hand at that age and said, "Hey, you're stuck at home so much and you're sick. Here, learn how to do this."
For me, it was I was coming out of that phase by the time I was, I was probably still sick at 10 a little bit, but I was kind of coming over the top of that. But when you're isolated as a little kid like that, you don't really make a lot of friends. So I had a couple good friends, and when they were busy, man, they were busy, and I didn't have a lot to do other than, like you, watch TV or read books or hang out at my grandpa's gas station, and that's how I ended up playing guitar.
Right on. See, I didn't have a grandpa that had a gas station, man. I was completely isolated in Arizona. Our entire family was back in Illinois, so I just, and I mumbled that so you couldn't understand any of it. You're welcome.
I think that guy got tired of me hanging, or the college or the high school kid or whatever he was got tired of me hanging out up there. He's like, "You ever think about playing guitar?"
You know what though?
So he hooked me up with my teacher. It was another fortuitous moment. What are the chances of somebody randomly asking a little kid, "Did you ever think about playing guitar?"
And I don't think it was somebody being tired of you. I was thinking it's somebody that recognized the fact that you.
It's almost like it was meant to be again.
Yeah, there was something that person saw in you.
Thank you, Joe Amato. I'll call him out. If you ever listen to this, Joe, get a hold of me on Facebook.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to you for a long time, but I see you on Facebook. You're still rocking. Right on. I'm still rocking. So
I have a question.
Yes.
I just hit the button up top that says live record, says live stream of Chris and Mike podcast, and then it says Chris and Mike show on Twitch. What the fuck is Twitch?
It's a live streaming platform that we are currently on that I was supposed to talk about in lieu of the 50-second episode that we squirrel our way out of all the time. Yes. We are live on Twitch, ladies and gentlemen. So if you know what that is and you have a Twitch account, or you would like to join us live on Tuesday evening at 5 o'clock Central, that's always subject to change. But maybe I should start posting it on Facebook.
So we have there's a person, right, on it, and it has a number 1 next to it. Does that mean we have somebody listening on Twitch?
I would assume so,
wow.
Unless it's you.
I'm not on Twitch. Hey, Twitch listener.
Oh, yeah, hey.
Hello.
Tell your friends. We need more than one. Then you can talk to each other.
Hello, Twitch listener.
Yeah, thanks for checking us out.
Man. That
Absolutely.
is cool. Right on.
It's the only one I could get to work. So for you people that like Twitch, congratulations. I can't get it to live stream to Facebook with anything other than me. So you might be able to do it to YouTube.
Okay, so this right now, what we're doing is on Twitch. So whoever's on Twitch can see us in the boxes.
Absolutely, just like
That's
this.
Cool,
I checked
man.
it out. I made sure it worked myself.
That is fucking cool, man.
First time I got my fiber optic internet, I tried it out. I meant to tell you, and, squirrel moments.
Fiber optics. So here's a squirrel moment as we are on episode 52. And this is the last time we're going to announce what episode we're on, fuckers. You're just going to have to look at the subject title and see what episode it is.
Yeah, it's got to be a little mystery. Easter eggs, I like to call them.
Because here's the thing, man. So in life, you want to be successful. You gravitate towards successful people. Well, Mr. Mike Michaels, is a huge podcast fan and freak. So he's on episode 615, I think he said, of the Joe Rogan Show.
I think it's 605.
The Joe Rogan Experience, my bad.
Somewhere in the 600s.
Right. And I noticed that he just did Joe Rogan Experience 2,200 and something. And it was everybody's favorite politician, Donald Trump. And it had like 20 million views.
Oh, yeah.
In fucking 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So here's a statistic that might blow your mind, being a businessman and somebody who appreciates talent and creativity.
Right.
He has pretty much been doing 3 podcasts a week on average from 2010, 11, 12, something. I think 2010 or 11.
Okay.
All the way till now. And most of them average 3 hours. There's a few that are an hour and 45, maybe 2.5. But for the most part, he's a 3 hour guy. And here's why it became 3 hours. It's funny. If you want Joe Rogan trivia, he used to do. So Chris and I were live streaming to a service called Twitch right now.
Twitch.
There used to be a service back in the day called Ustream, and it was the only one that could support a podcast that was as robust as his. Okay, where he had like 100,000 people listening to him at any one time live. Yeah. Then he would have millions of downloads afterwards, but he would have like 100,000 people live that knew when he was going to be on, and they would all get on Ustream. Gotcha. Ustream only went for 3 hours. So he always called it, we're going to turn into a pumpkin. I'd like to keep talking to you, but Ustream only lets us go 3 hours.
Okay.
So it's pretty fascinating. He earns approximately $300,000 per episode, and he does 3 episodes a week.
That's fucking insane.
Do the math.
Okay, so see, there's no reason why we can't do more than 1 episode a week.
That's up to you. You just got to tell me what your schedule is.
Well, I think
I'm a single guy that sits in here, and I got a lot of time on my hands, but I know you're busy, and whenever you got time, you just tell me your schedule for the week, and it's real easy for me to kind of work mine around yours.
Yeah, I think we pick up Fridays for sure. Not this Friday because you got shit going on, but I think we pick up Fridays. I think that would be because that's the thing. So it's like anything that I do. Once I get into it and I enjoy it, it's that television thing which Nikki hates. Like I made the comment that I wanted to get involved with Little Man's School, and she's like, I'm like before I could even say it, she's like, no. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like,
I know this side of him.
Because that's all you'll do, because then you'll be gone all the time. It's going to be really hard for a little man going to school and see him pop up and not be able to come up, run to you, blah, 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 blah. He's like, you just can't do that. You can't. You don't know how to just, I don't know how to just, it's kind of like getting in the water, right? You want to go swimming.
I'm with you. That's why I'm very careful of what I get involved in as well. And people kind of look at you weird, but I guess I'm halfway in between you and what Nikki's trying to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm still the guy that will, just like this. Look what I did. I'm fucking building a studio in the middle of one of my living rooms. I mean, come on.
Well, part of that's because I kept poking the bear. It's like, come on, dude. I want to write some songs, and then so it kind of poked the bear enough. Yeah. I mean, I'm not taking credit for it by any way, shape, and form.
No. If I'm being honest, and I was asked the same question,
Okay.
Why do I continue to do this? Why did I do it in the first place?
Yeah, I should
because
ask
I
you that.
was.
My bad.
No. That's all right. I was super caught in a routine, and I'll tell you how crazy. And Chris always likes to say, these moments, like he said, how we met, and all these things that happened that are just meant to be.
Right.
Just yesterday, I was listening to, obviously, Rogan, and he had a doctor on there who was talking about you should not be a creature of habit. You should not take the same way to work and it's crazy because these are things my dad does. My dad will go a different way to the same place just because he's bored, right?
Okay.
But what he doesn't realize is science has proven that if you do that, it lowers the risk of you getting Alzheimer's. If that's hereditary in your family, it even lowers it more because your brain will actually start to fucking atrophy from doing the exact same thing the exact same way every day. And a very good friend of mine who was working with me every day, she's on to bigger and better things with the union, and she's still involved in the plan a little bit, but I don't see Sunshine as much as I used to, so shout out to Sunshine. She noticed that I was very... Sunshine! That's an official hippie shout out.
Sunshine, love your love, man. Like, peace, sunshine. Like, where you at, man? Where are the rays? Bring me your golden rays, man. Like shower me with your sunshine.
Just talking to me every day, she noticed I was super caught in a, go to work, go home.
In a funk.
Go to work, go home.
See, okay, so I can relate to that big time because once COVID hit, man, and then the fucking office went from 60 to 4, like 60 agents to 4. That's how I was because then it was basically getting out of bed, dealing with a little man, going to work out, coming home, fuck.
Yep.
Now what? And there's because of the need for the social aspect of life, it just wasn't working for me. It just, I needed something, and that's why I switched.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head a minute ago. It was, the whole time that I've known her and working with her,
Sunshine.
All I've talked about is being a musician, but we weren't writing music. And, I explained myself. It's like when the person that you wrote all the music with, you and Scott's no longer with us. That's a story for another day. We'll try and work out that whole deal. But anyway, I wasn't an arranger, Chris could tell you I could write riffs for days. I just did it right before we started this podcast. I'm like, here, check this out.
Yeah,
you saw it live right as I wrote it. So that shit just comes to me out of the universe. I learned how to tap into that focus and just listening to what's going on around you. I can make music for days. Mm-hmm. Drummers are the people that, put everything in order. They're like the arranger guy, Mm-hmm. I'm getting better at that part of writing music, but, you miss that for a while. And when the person that you did that with, you have no access to and is no longer with you, it's like, it's tough, man. Mm-hmm. Being in a band is emotional too. And when I tell Chris I love him as a person that believed in me at a time when nobody did except the other 3 guys that were in my band and had no reason to, It's like we were writing original music, and it's a tough business.
It is.
And when you step on that stage, you better hope that the other 3 guys got your back like 1,000,000%.
Right.
There's not even a number you can put on it. He's described it 1,000,000 times. You just can't describe it or understand it unless you've been there. So to have experienced that with somebody at a level I did with Scott, that hurt me for a long time. It's like we had lost touch with each other, and there's no way that I could have done anything because I wasn't in his life, but still tough. It's like now I sit, for a lot of years I sat down to write music and play my guitar, and it's like, man, even if I wanted this piece of music to go somewhere, it's not going to because I don't have any way to arrange it. I'm not a drummer. Right. My mom would tell you I wanted to be one like there's no tomorrow. I got all her pots and pans out when I was a little kid and, banging on them and shit. But my brain doesn't work that way. It was meant to play guitar. So I guess the reason that, getting back to the reason we're doing this, since this is our 52nd episode, it's also a platform for you and I to let people know that there's life after any kind of addiction.
There is.
And not just, I want people to understand it's not just, drugs, alcohol. It's like people are addicted to all kinds of things.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, anything. I mean, people like when I stopped drinking, I mean, my thing was working out. Like I completely went to working out because it was, it was just something else to occupy that space in my brain.
And that's another reason that I would say for both of us, not only is it a creative outlet, it's an outlet for us to let people know that there's life after any kind of addiction, and actually life is better in a lot of respects, almost always, almost every aspect of life.
Agreed. Because
once you deal with that pain head on and you do it on a regular basis, that's why, people always say, when you smoke marijuana, do you get paranoid? No, because I deal with everything that I have coming to me on a moment-by-moment basis. I don't let things fester in my head.
No, and festering is bad because that's when you get inside your head. And when you get inside your head, then you start talking to yourself and answering your own questions, and that's where that's where your fucked upness comes. Full force. Ow, that hurt. I just burned my face. Oh!
Jokes, folks. Jokes.
But yeah, I get that, man. You gotta, and that was part of the reason why we did this. It's because of one of our common grounds is we're both addicts. We're both recovering addicts. I mean, different levels of addiction, different types of things addicted to, but it's still the same thing. I don't care who you are. If you're addicted to fucking sex, drugs, booze, fucking food is an addiction, right? Exercise can be an addiction.
So here's the comeback I always give to people that say that marijuana is addictive. You just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to realize that people found marijuana first. Those people were going to be addicted to whatever they found. Chris just pointed it out. If they had found fucking Cheerios first or Frosted Flakes, they would have been addicted to those.
Right.
Or eating paint chips or some of that shit you see on My Strange Addiction on TLC.
Yep.
Those are the people that are addicted to marijuana. The rest of us are just like, if you got it, cool. If you don't, that's cool too.
Yep, I agree, man. Did you hear the clapping?
I think he found the sound effects.
I found the sound effects.
We're in fucking big trouble now. Give him a toy. He's going to play with it.
Give me a toy, man. I love toys, It's the greatest thing in the world,
Thank you. It's just coming out on a Tuesday night. We appreciate it.
We do appreciate you coming out on Tuesday night, man. Dude, why didn't you ever tell me there were sound effects, motherfucker? Dude, it took me 52 motherfucking shows.
Because they're super cheesy.
To find out there's sound effects.
I want live video and actual music. I just need to figure out how to do it.
It's like max upload a file is 100 megabytes. Like upload a file. Let's see. Let's see what's all fucking. Is it all?
So what I'm working on right now is I'm actually trying to get the DVD onto my hard drive and chop it up so that we can use it on the podcast when we talk about, like our original songs or whatever. I am working on that.
Wow. Okay. This is interesting, man. All right. New toys.
Oh, yeah.
What's this one? Ooh.
What was that?
That was a transition, Mike.
What was that?
Hey, so here's a funny thing to talk about.
We don't do transitions because this is all live.
It is all live. Thank you. It's all live.
Way more entertaining than anything you're watching on TV, too.
Exactly.
Unless you're watching this on TV.
Right. So speaking of TV, I watched the Ozzy Osbourne induction ceremony to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Jack Black inducted him. Jack Black did a pretty good job.
I watched it too.
Okay, so fucking you can. I'm sure you're gonna agree with this shit. Jelly Roll fucking sucks. Has fucking no business on God's green earth singing "Mama and I'm Coming Home." The dude was so out of fucking tune, and sharp and flat. I'm like, why the fuck are you there? You're not. You need to have people to induct Ozzy.
Oh, you're gonna kill the Jelly Roll fans, but I agree with you.
I don't give a fuck. But
I agree with you.
You have to have a singer who either was inspired by Sabbath or inspired by Ozzy, and that can fucking do his song justice. Jelly Roll just fucking destroyed "Mama, I'm Coming Home."
I agree.
He ruined that song. And then what the fuck was Billy Idol doing, man? I think Sharon, who's got the world's most plastic face, like when she dies and is buried in the ground, you can exhume her body in 100 years and the face will still be intact. She fucking looks stupid, man. She was a very attractive woman, and she fucking destroyed her face. I'm not going to go down that tangent because that just shows the level of insecurity she has by being married to the Prince of Darkness, which is all of it right there. It's all of it because that's just when you're not happy with your face, it's insecurity, man. When you do plastic surgery and shit. And yes, I'm on a soapbox.
You start dressing up like the hippie from Mississippi.
Fucking A, man. Like you're not jiving with your own appearance, so you got to allude to something different, man, to feel comfortable in your own skin, you know?
Hey, you got to do what you got to do, man.
You got to do what you got to do.
I get
it.
A.
So Jelly Roll,
I'm with you, brother.
Step off the fucking music scene, man, and go fucking change tires or something because you destroyed
who's a
Mama's
big fan of yours right now?
Who?
I fucking guarantee you 1,000,000%, and I'll eat my shorts if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Tony Palmer.
There you go.
Tony, when you get to episode 52, the 1 year anniversary, shoot me a text and tell me that you agree 100% with Chris, and I'll know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So then you got Jelly Roll.
I agree too.
Yeah, I knew that you would because you're a musician.
Fucking
and then
right.
You got Billy Idol. The only reason I think Billy Idol was
it told me that he sang with auto-tune. Sorry to talk over you, but it told me that Jelly Roll sings with auto-tune, and apparently auto-tune was not available at the fucking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
No.
And the fucking story.
And it shouldn't be. But
Chris doesn't sing with auto-tune.
Fuck no. If you look in the crowd that night, there were so many fucking fantastic vocalists. Sammy Hagar could have come up there. Fucking
damn right. He can still sing at 70-some years old.
Oh, fuck. What the fuck? This is bad. Oh, motherfucker. Paul Waters was there. Paul
Rogers.
Paul Rogers was there. He
One of the best singers of all time.
Right? There were so many people in the audience, man. Jack Black, motherfucker, should have sang a song.
Yeah, he could have done Sabbath.
Jack Black has an amazing
better than Jelly Roll
vocal range. Oh, my God. If you don't think Jack Black can sing, fucking go watch School of Rock. Because Tenacious D's like little fucking around fuckery thing. But School of Rock, that's all Jack Black. Fucking, that's all.
He's a creative motherfucker.
Yeah, dude, so many people could have been up on the stage singing and paying homage to Ozzy Osbourne instead of embarrassing the fucking craft in which that he's created and touched millions. Mama and I'm Coming Home was worldwide, man. That was, people adopted that for fucking runaways and fucking addicts. That were
beautiful song.
Right, and fucking really, dude, really, fucking Miley Cyrus would have done a better job.
Agreed.
You know, so and then
sad to have to admit.
I don't know what else was sung because what I saw on YouTube was only "Mama, I'm Coming Home," and then I can't remember what song Billy Idol was singing because it was so fucking bad I just erased it from my mind. But there had to be a couple more songs. Did you watch it live or did you watch the YouTube?
I watched it on YouTube.
Yeah, because see, I have the Disney app, and that's what it was on, and I totally forgot to fucking tune in. I'll have to go see if it's a replay. But yeah, you know, just like what the fuck, man. I don't know. Even Zakk Wylde could have been up there singing, man. Zakk Wylde's got a good fucking voice. He could have sang Crazy Train, you know.
When they did No More Tears and he played that solo, it was note for fucking note for fucking note. He meant that solo.
Who did the vocals on No More Tears? Was that the dude from Tool? Was that Maynard? Because they started with Crazy Train. They started with Crazy Train. Because Ozzy did the All Aboard, right? Because Wolfgang was out there. I could have swore. Wolfgang could have fucking sang a song, man. Ozzy loved Eddie. Wolfgang could have sang a song.
Yeah,
you know, I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed in who they chose to sing, and that's all fucking Sharon. You know, Billy Idol was their buddies. You know.
So apparently, I didn't see Billy Idol is the one that you're talking about. He sang "No More Tears."
That's fucking terrible, dude. Fucking.
So
just
all I ever watched,
terrible.
apparently on YouTube, was the solo.
Was the solo?
You know me, I'm a fucking musician.
Well, yeah, it was so bad, dude. It was just so fucking bad. I just don't understand why they let certain people sing the song, because it's supposed to be a celebration of the artist, and it's hard to sing Ozzy, right? Because he
has a very unique voice, yes,
right. But you still need to find somebody who can accomplish that in his wheelhouse.
Look,
you know,
not to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
Remember I told you I've been saving stuff that I know you would find interesting.
Yes.
And talk about real, raw, and relevant. What's the first thing I open up? Being able to tolerate your own singing voice is probably the highest form of acceptance.
Right, exactly.
Yep. I saved that because it's so true. I always admired Chris because his instrument is his body, right? He gets up, he has to entertain the crowd, but he also has to hit all those notes all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't hit them all the time.
It's a level of vulnerability that most people will never understand. That's what I'm saying.
Right, and that's why Jelly Roll shouldn't have been on that motherfucking stage. Because in rehearsals, he didn't do it. He didn't hit it because they had to rehearse that shit. I think he was reading the lyrics from, if you're watching his face every now and he kept looking down. Like, dude, motherfucker, you don't know this song? Then why are you on the stage? Nobody should be on the stage with any artist that's being inducted. I don't care who the artist is. With any artist that's being inducted, unless there's some tie to them growing up, inspiration, whatnot. That's how it should be. And it sucks that Ozzy couldn't move him on his throne. Obviously, Ozzy can't do it. Ozzy just can't perform anymore, which sucks. But it's a drag, because it would have been nice to have 5 years ago induct him, 10 years ago induct him, because he was well deserved. After No More Tears, he was well deserved to be in the Hall.
He should have been able to, to your point, get up there and sing his own songs the way they were meant to be played and sung.
Right.
Because to Chris's point, people don't realize this. Tony could expound upon it more, and he probably will. Ozzy actually has his own electronic, for lack of a better term, for people who aren't into the music and know all the, ins and outs of it.
Sure.
He actually has his own setup. Like, his equalizer is the same all the time, and he uses the same microphone. And, Ozzy's voice is very unique. It's hard to duplicate.
Absolutely.
And to your point, they should have done a better job. There's 100 people out there that can probably do,
Hetfield, do Crazy Train. Hetfield, do Crazy Train, man. That would have been amazing.
Let Mustaine get up there and do it. These are people who Ozzy, without Ozzy, there would be no Metallica. There would be no Megadeth. There would be no, all these bands that you love, that Tool, bands that I consider that have singers that, to your point, can cut the mustard, you know?
Yeah.
These bands wouldn't exist without Ozzy. They fucking, worship is a bad word, but that's what they did. They worship the man.
Right, but it's true. But that's the whole point. And you Jelly Roll lovers, I'm sorry, but
I agree.
The dude has no relevance. The only reason he's relevant right now is because he's and I'm not. This is gonna sound bad. This insanely insecure human being who weighs about 500 pounds.
I like his one song, but it just proved to me like that. I don't know, something about a sinner. He's got a good song.
Yeah, but he doesn't deserve.
It proved to me it was done with Pro Tools and Auto Tune, and
everything's done with Auto Tune. I was in EOS the other day working out, and Nikki and I were doing working out. I don't know what day it was, but they have a video. They have these video things, and they'll have bands playing shit during, Fucking dude came on, two guys duet. I don't even know what the fucking genre of music was, because it wasn't their voice. It was auto tuned up the wazoo with all this, like I had a vocal effects processor. Remember that? I had a little board. It was about as thick as a ruler and about as long as one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All that thing did, I gave myself reverb. And I really think that was the extent of the effect that I used, just reverb. So like when we were playing live, when I would hit certain hold out long notes and shit, would just give me a little bit of reverb in the back of it, which just gave me a fuller sound. It wasn't changing the dynamic of my voice. It wasn't changing my ability to hold out notes and stay in key. There were nights where I was sharp. There were nights where I was flat, because that's fucking playing live, man. You're in the experience.
Nobody's perfect. Rock and roll is not perfect.
Right. But knowing your wheelhouse and knowing your comfort range, you stay within that. And they should have found better musicians to pay homage to Ozzy. And they should find better musicians to pay homage to anybody who's being inducted into the Hall of Fame, because it's honoring them, right? It's honoring their body of work.
Yeah.
And music's fucking hard. A lot of people think, oh, you're just a fucking musician.
You have no idea.
Fuck you. It is so hard. It is so.
It's an everyday affair.
It's so taxing. It's draining. It's
traveling.
You play in front of 3 people. You play in front of 1,000 people, and that dynamic can change in 6 weeks, right?
Yep.
And then you could be playing in front of 1,500 people and consecutively doing that. And
we did a lot of Monday nights for the bartender.
Right, and right. That's what I'm saying. People don't get how and. To be a tight band, to be tight.
Thanks, Trish. Well, make sure we tip you on the way out. We appreciate it.
Right. So, let's just talk Metallica, because we both love Metallica, right?
Yes, absolutely.
When Metallica's not touring, they probably take time off. They probably fuck around for 4, 5, 6 months, just get back and just chill and relax. And
These days, sure, more than ever.
Right. Don't do things with the band, because you need.
Not from 1981 to 2000.
But this is my point. So. Are they done with their worldwide tour?
No, I think so. Right? Oh, is it?
I think it's. I don't know.
Keep going. I'll look it up.
Well, my point was being, before that worldwide tour, before that thing launched, they probably spent 6-7 months rehearsing 4 to 5 days a week, because
in a big airplane hangar. Absolutely.
Right. Because even though you know your craft, if Mike and I all of a sudden
they're still touring all the way through 2025, because they are fucking machines.
Right, and then they'll be done, and then they'll take a year off, and they won't touch their instruments as a band collectively in the same spot.
Probably a year.
Right. So when they come back to the point to where they want to do something again, whether that's record an album or go back on a tour, they have to go back in and rehearse again. There's shit Mike and I wrote 30 years ago. He couldn't pick up the guitar tomorrow and blast through the 10, 15, 20 songs we wrote, nor could I sing them.
No.
I mean, I can pick up the melody when he starts playing the guitar, but my voice is not in performance shape, just like his hands are not in performance shape to being able to play the songs, for an hour and a half, 2 hours, consecutive nights. So it's the thing. People think it's just pick up a mic and go. It's not pick up a mic and go, man. Like you cannot pick up an instrument and go. You have to.
No.
You have to rehearse. You have to practice. You got to put time. For every tight song, for every single song Metallica plays, there's at least 10,000 times they played that song, fucking it up before they got it perfect, and then they still fuck it up live, but you don't know it because you're in the moment, man. Yep. And that's the beautiful thing about being live and in the moment. They may drop a beat here or there, and you don't realize it. They do. We fucked up shit on stage, and we knew we fucked it up, but nobody else did. And because we were tight enough that we just went with the flow, nobody knew it. And that's musicians. There's so much behind the scenes shit people don't understand. They just don't understand.
It's a rough life, and Ozzy's been doing it since he was 19? 17 years old or something. 19, yeah, super young, and now he's an old man, and he's been doing it. So the whole thing that Chris just described, this man has been living his entire life. Would you want to have grown up away from your kids and around, for lack of a better term, a bunch of heavy metal people who that's your life, Yeah. You're surrounded by basically 100 to 150 people when you're on tour at his level every day that are just like you. So Zakk Wylde described it best. It's literally like going to the circus every day. You never know what's going to happen.
No, you don't. And
so it's a different kind of life than, hey, I'm going to go make fasteners at the factory for 30 years,
Right.
I've seen both sides of it, and there's advantages to both sides. I'm not saying that one is better than the other. There's some very nice things about having a home and a bed to sleep in every night and knowing what town you're in. So, it's all what people want to do. But I agree with you 1,000,000% that the man should be respected and honored in a way that represents a career that touched hundreds of millions of lives.
Because it did.
You're not talking tens or 20.
No.
Ozzy is known worldwide.
Yeah.
You mentioned Ozzy. There's only one Ozzy. It's not
Right.
Ozzy and Harriet.
Right, and you play his song without saying who he is, you know who's singing it. It's just
Damn right you do.
Because that's who he is, and that's the niche he carved. I mean, imagine a world without Ozzy Osbourne.
And that's, to me, that's the level of what you call superstardom or legendary.
Yes.
When even if you don't like his music, you have to admit that he did something with his life and he changed a genre of music forever, right?
Forever.
And nobody will argue with you.
Nobody.
And the crowd goes wild. The crowd
goes
wild.
fucking wild.
I'm
Nobody.
going to take his toy away. How do I deny his privileges, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to have to deny his privileges, ladies and gentlemen. There has to be a way to do this. Why did you not tell me for 52 episodes? There you have it.
That's why. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. I looked on the side of my media. The fuck is media, man?
Fascinates me that you never got curious at all.
No, I just
all
it's
that
like
time.
well, I've seen the chat and the people, I just never and I never noticed media. I'm like, what the fuck? I just assumed media related to what we were doing. We're being media right here,
Yes, we are Iron Dog Productions.
Right. For those of you who don't know us, Chris was born in the year of metal. In the year of the dog, under the sign of metal, thus Iron Dog. That's my stage persona. I'm Iron Dog on stage, and you get hippie from Mississippi today. So here's the fun little thing. So
Okay.
I get Little Man in the mornings. Like if you listen to our show, my little man's my going to be 5-year-old grandson, December 31st. So since he was born, basically maybe since he was like 3.5 months old, I've had him every morning. It ranged from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. or 6 to 8 or whatever it is, Monday through Friday. So this morning we're playing. He comes into my office and he grabs stuff off my desk. Like he grabbed the Statue of Liberty today, right? And he took the Statue of Liberty into the TV room and he put it up on the table thing that's underneath the big screen TV, right? And he sits the thing on the thing and I'm hanging on the couch because he was supposed to be eating his pancakes. So I keep telling him, like, you can have a bite of pancake. I want to do this pop up. Okay, have a bite of pancake, then we'll go do this. Motherfucker starts reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Nice.
Now, for people that know me, like you, I'm insanely fucking patriotic. Like, I have flown a flag on every house I've owned from day one. So much so that there's neighbors that I had that just assumed I was in the military in some way, shape, or form because I'm that patriotic. 9/11 sucked. 9/12 to me was amazing because everybody finally became patriotic again. You couldn't find flags, and you drove down the streets, and everybody had a flag flying. That's how it should be every fucking day of the year. It shouldn't just be because of the Flag Day and
I remember that well too.
Right. So
it felt good.
Yeah. So as bad as 9/11 was, it's the fucking darkest day in our country's history, and 9/12. Remember 9/12. The patriotism was through the roof, and the love and the care for Americans was unprecedented.
Yes.
I'm the only one on my street that has a flag. I take that back. Paul has a flag. Paul and I have a flag. Paul has a flag that he can fly at night because I bought him a light to put on his flagpole.
Very nice.
In my neighborhood of 400 some odd houses, there's maybe 10 flagpoles, and a couple of them don't have flags on them. Like, why do you have a flagpole without a flag, motherfucker? So when Little Man started reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, I was like, holy shit. So I busted out my phone and I'm like, dude, did you just say the Pledge of Allegiance? So yeah, so he did it again. And I just, and so I sent it for those who don't know, my son's a drill instructor in the United States Marine Corps. Ooh, bah! So I sent it to him. And
damn straight.
Right away, he was just like, he loved it. And because it did my heart good to know that he's learning that in school. Because then I asked him, I'm like, you do that every day in school? Yeah, I do. Mrs. K. I was like, that's awesome. Because I don't go to his school, right, with him, so I don't know what they do.
Right.
But we came from an era where the first class of every school day was saying the pledge.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah,
we grew up in the same era.
That's what I'm saying. You and I.
Oh yeah.
And that's, I don't know if that's still done, but it should be.
Do you know that the words "under God" were not added until after World War II?
I did not know that.
Yeah, look it up.
That's cool. Okay.
Look up the year real quick. When were the words "under God" added to the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge.
It was done as propaganda, just so everybody knows. There was no official religion, and there was supposed to be no official religion to this country.
Why Eisenhower added under God?
There you have it.
It had a date, man. It was on June 14th, 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed a bill to insert the phrase under God
After World War II.
into the U.S. Pledge of Allegiance that children recited every morning in the school. Previously, the pledge, originally written in 1892, had contained no reference to religion.
Yes.
To push to add under God to the pledge.
Separation of church and state.
Right. Gained momentum during the Second Red Scare, a period when U.S. politicians were keen to assert the moral superiority of U.S. capitalism over Soviet communism, which many conservatives regarded it as godless.
Which I like to call propaganda.
Court cases about whether students should recite the pledge had already reached the U.S. Supreme Court in the 1940s before under God was added. In the decades after the 1954 edition, there were numerous other lawsuits related to the pledge.
So a lot of people don't know that. I think that's informative information that it wasn't always there. It wasn't intended to be there. It was done as propaganda because people were afraid you were going to become a fucking communist. So
and here, let's go deeper.
Yeah, go deeper. I like it.
The first version of the Pledge of Allegiance was written for the Columbian Exposition in October 1892 to mark the 400th anniversary of a political refugee called Christopher Columbus and how he arrived in the Americas with gonorrhea and syphilis. Historians have long identified its author as Francis Bellamy, an ordained Baptist minister and Christian socialist who got a job working for the family magazine Youth. I'm having my cousin Vinny moment. Youth.
These two youths.
The two youths. The youth.
Two youths. What the fuck is a youth?
It's a youth.
Excuse me. These two youths.
Youth. I can't fucking do it, dude. In 2022, historians raised new questions about whether Bellamy wrote the pledge himself or stole from a boy who submitted to the magazine. Blah 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 blah. As a marking gimmick, Bellamy put together a program for schools to use to mark the Columbian Exposition and successfully lobbied Congress to support the program. Part of this program was the Pledge of Allegiance, which originally read, this is the original reading of the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands, one nation indivisible with liberty and justice for all. That's it.
Play ball.
That's the original, right? That's the original Pledge of Allegiance.
That's the way it should still read.
Yeah.
And there's a key word in there that I would like people to pay attention to. You are a member of a republic. You do not technically live in a democracy. That you were sold a bill of goods there too. So.
Right. Because it doesn't say United States of America. It says I pledge allegiance to the flag.
To the republic.
Flag. I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands.
Yes.
One nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now it's I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, right?
Yep.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Something to that effect. I haven't said pledge allegiance in a long time. But yeah, wow, interesting. I don't want to sign up for the inside story. So I did sign up, however, to this thing called MasterClass. You ever heard of MasterClass? Google.
I've heard of it,
dude.
Yeah.
It's legit. So my brokerage, we watch MasterClass stuff. So I finally just signed up. It's $120 a year to have access to all these master classes, man. And it's not like it's cool stuff. It's former CIA hostage negotiator Chris Voss, and you learn insights to manipulating conversations and
that's awesome.
And you don't have to use them in a negative way, right? You can use everything in positive, but it's kind of cool. You're on the podcast and shit. You might dig the master class because you have.
I'll check it out.
You have. You can search for stuff. There's libraries, like different subcategories and shit, all the way from like arts and creativity to, cooking food and shit, filmmaking and creative writing and descriptive writing and screenplays. I mean, it's like fuck. It's a little overwhelming, all the things they have, but it's pretty legit. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
you know?
and for the people listening, the reason that I'm only on episode 600 is because I've been doing this for well over a year. I listen to a lot of shit. I listen to Bill Burr. I listen to Joey Diaz. I like people who make me laugh, but I listen to a lady on the YouTube. She's called The Charismatic Voice. For people who like, yourself included, for people who like to understand how singers work and why their voice works with the music, and she just goes into really good detail about why these singers were effective. Bruce Dickinson, Ronnie James Dio. She was an opera singer and toured the world with different opera companies and was a coach and a teacher, and somehow fell in love with heavy metal and rock and roll. She never listened to it in her entire life, so it's fascinating to see her hear this for the first time. So I will definitely check out your MasterClass because, like I said, I got a lot of different interests. Clark Howard, I listen to him for finances because it's simple to the point.
There's one in there. There's a guy in there I started tooling around with it last night that talks about finances and shit. It's pretty legit. He talks about he runs the largest hedge fund in America.
Wow.
He launched chicken nuggets. He learned how to for McDonald's. This dude figured out because it was in a weird time where interest rates were, and it was a weird economic structure going on in the country, and they were afraid. McDonald's was afraid if they launched this item, they'd have to change the price and it would piss people off. So this guy figured out what chickens eat, and if I go to the source for what chickens eat, and I buy the chicken food to feed the chickens, then I never have to change the price because I'm cutting the cost of the cutting out the middleman, basically fucking over small town America.
Genius.
Kind of like our beef suppliers, like people that raise beef in America. They don't make shit for money because the government stepped in and fucked everybody.
Yes, they did.
Same concept with chicken nuggets. That's why they could maintain the price of chicken nuggets. And then in the B-roll, while he's talking, the fucking. I swear to God, the ghost just walked by.
We'll have to watch this part of the video. 1 hour and 11 minutes. I'll check it out.
Wow, that just fucking threw me for a loop-de-loop, man.
I know.
Wow.
I saw the whole thing happen.
For those of you who don't know, I have ghosts in the house.
If you're just listening.
Yeah.
He kind of freaked out mid-conversation, just turned to his right, left, whatever left.
To my left, which is cool. I mean, they're not bad
really
ghosts.
Right.
They're just ghosts, and they're like, it's Mike and I have talked about it a lot. They're just it's a freak thing. Like I had a handyman come over today, and we were going over some things to do to get ready for Nikki's 50th party. So the house is like dialed in, little odds and ends. And so I told him, like, dude, I'll let you in next week. I'll probably be at my office while you're working. I said, just be mindful. We have ghosts. And then,
you got to tell people that
he
shit.
has ghosts too. And he started talking about the ghosts he had back in the house he lived in Oregon. I'm like, fucking right on, dude. Right on. Uh-oh.
You're good.
I said I was trying to reconnect. I wonder if my internet was being wacky.
Yeah, he froze up for a second. It's all good.
So,
but you got to tell people that shit. Otherwise, they're like, hey, fucking house is a little freaky,
Yeah.
When I get this thing all set up, I'll try to get the people I know who have experienced this and yourself, and all four of us can get together and swap war stories. So I won't out them before they've agreed to do it, but there's going to come a time when we can all four do it at the same time, and I think that they have some incredible fucking stories that people would love to hear, and I think the time is right. So
and I'm going
to try and make that happen.
Dean Naughton, Dean Naughton, my co-host for Good News Arizona. I was chatting with him a couple weeks ago because Nikki doesn't listen to my shit. Nikki doesn't it's weird, man. Like she'll never listen to the podcast. Like it's whatever. But so
you never know. We may have a guest down the road that she actually likes.
Right. So she gets me. Like she knows I need this part of my life. But
she didn't listen to Jake.
Probably not. She's not. She doesn't.
How dare her.
She doesn't. I don't know. And she's just I mean, she hears me every day. We're 30 years together. So.
I just figured she'd listen to Jake.
So here's the cool thing, though. This is where I'm going with this.
Okay.
I've been fucking dropping hints for years. I want bobbleheads. Like I have every fucking single bobblehead the office could make. Okay, it took me 2 years to find the bobbleheads for the office.
You don't have the Bob Ross bobblehead.
I don't have the Bob Ross bobblehead.
Look at that.
But that's fucking awesome. That is, and the fact that you have it right there is even better. Did you watch the Bob Ross movie?
No, I need to.
There's Owen Wilson plays Bob Ross, which I could totally see. You know. So anyway, I had a thing come up on the Facebook, man. And I'm like, fucking bobbleheads is damn straight. So I made her own bobbleheads, and that's her Christmas present. And I'm gonna be like, see, I fucking dropped the hint for decades that I want a bobblehead. These things are badass, man. They send me pictures. I can't wait to see them. They send me pictures. I'll email you the pictures so you can see them. The process of it. It's a trip, man. They I don't know how they do it, but it's like I gave them. It was a picture of Nikki and I in Vegas for the rock and roll half, because it was the most generic, Florida, foot to head picture with a large background that they could kind of understand the body shape and stuff. And then they had to send them a couple close ups of the faces and the hair and shit. My hair was no problem, but
nor would mine be.
So I was sending them to Dean, because Dean and I were talking. It was the fuck ton. Dean saw the fuck ton episode.
Oh, that's awesome.
So from that, we went down the rabbit hole of bobbles, because he and I, and the Good News Arizona, I talked about it all the time. I want a bobblehead. I want a fucking bobblehead, man. Like, Angela gave Dwight a bobblehead.
Now I want a bobblehead. Fuck.
Right? So we should make Chris and Mike
Bob Ross. I want my own bobblehead.
So that's going to be on our to-do list, the Chris and Mike bobblehead.
All right.
So I started showing him the pictures of it. It's fucking amazing, man. It really is. It's a craft to it. I mean, these guys take this little tiny bobblehead and they're scraping it, and then they hold it next to the picture. I'm just like, wow,
that's awesome.
Like holy shit, it's legit. So
it's not easy to get that much detail in something that small,
No, it's not. And then I'm assuming they bake it like pottery, and make it that hard little.
Oh sure, yeah.
But even the bodies, man, it's like the bodies trip me out. It's like, fuck, that's legit,
Yeah, this thing's amazing. I don't take him out of the box because I'll tell my Bob Ross story someday. But there's a very, I guess the only right word to use is sentimental. That's that shared some very cool moments with somebody that meant a lot to me, just getting high and watching Bob Ross and talking about life and laughing and, becoming the person that I am today, and understanding things that were confusing to me. And I'll tell the whole story someday, but we would just watch Bob Ross and fucking laugh, There's no accidents. Awesome. We'll just make some more leaves on this tree,
Right.
It's no problem at all. Yeah, we can put as many clouds in there as we want,
Yep.
But there was so many life lessons in what he was saying. You just had to be open enough to actually listen to what he was saying, He was basically saying the whole point of life is to be happy and free, and apparently nobody was listening.
Well, I think they were, but then we went from, that was a Bruce Springsteen song. Oh my God. Did we talk about Little Steven and Bruce Springsteen?
We did.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was just in my head.
No, we did.
So there's a Bruce Springsteen song he wrote years ago in the MTV era that was, it was like 250 channels and there's nothing on. Remember that?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Think about that. So
there was 52 channels and there's nothing on. Now we got 252 channels and there's nothing on.
But that's the problem. Like, little man has been watching this thing called JJ Mikey, and then Skylar finally put an end to it because JJ Mikey were dropping some nice choice language. So this morning I legitimately just deleted YouTube off his iPad. He just has YouTube Kids.
Okay.
Which he was pissed about, but what's he gonna do? Like,
what's he gonna do?
He's like, Pop,
you're 3 foot tall,
right? He's like, there's something on my iPad. I was like, what's wrong? He's like, I can't find JJ Mikey. I said, well, there's nothing wrong with that, little man. I deleted that app so you can no longer access JJ Mikey. And so we have this little chair, this little couch sofa thing that I bought because I thought it was going to be bigger, but it wasn't. And it just kind of fits in the entryway. And there's like 5 pillows on it. It says family. It's under the family portrait wall. So he goes over there, pulls the pillows off, and sits down and curls down like a little, like grabs his little knees and drops his lower lip. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. I went and sat on the couch.
This is a protest?
Yeah. I was like, I don't know what to tell you, little man. You're not watching JJ Mike anymore. So like yesterday I made him watch, Apple TV has, the Charlie Brown Halloween and Thanksgiving.
Awesome.
So I made him watch that. He didn't want to watch it. Dude, it's amazing how captivating those episodes are.
Yeah.
Because it's such simple graphics, right? It's simple
but it's the
artwork.
way the music was tied in with the delivery of the narration, you know.
The colors.
So well done.
Right. Oh, yeah. Stands the test of time. So he watched that, no problem at all. Then this morning was what? The fuck did we watch? I didn't even remember what we watched this morning because we were so engaged in playing hide and seek and shit and fucking around doing other things that it's more white noise in the background.
But I'm not even talking about going all, and I would love to do this. I mean, anybody that knows me knows I'd be lying if I'm saying I wouldn't. But I'm not even talking about going all the way to, not to make fun of you, but the whole hippie, peace and love. Hey, man, everything's cool. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just existing with other human beings the way that you just described, the way you and I have interacted with each other from the day we met in 1994 to 2024 right now.
Yeah.
You've said things and I'm like, I don't believe that, man. And you're like, that's cool.
Yeah.
What do you believe? And I would tell you, and you'd be like, well, yeah, maybe I see it your way, or no, I still believe what I believe, and we'll move on to the next thing. You want to go get a fucking burrito?
Right.
Why can't we just talk to each other? The thing,
because we can't. Because
I just don't understand.
I don't either.
Chill out, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a friend. They're still friends, I would assume, but they posted something on and you and I have talked about this. Gas prices are not reflective by who's in office.
Fucking idiots.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they posted, in 13 days we're gonna, gas is gonna be affordable again, and food's gonna be affordable again, blah blah blah. And
That's not the way it works.
Right. And I chimed in. I'm like, prove it.
15. Here's a fact. We won't go down the politics road, but I just heard this. 15 of 17 of the past Nobel Peace Prize winning, just for economics, said that Trump's tax plan will fucking kill us. So,
so will Harris's.
One side is gonna fuck us one way, and the other side is gonna fuck us the other way. End of story.
Because what Kamala wants. That her the whole thing about, and again we're not going down politics, but her whole thing about $25,000 money for housing, blah blah blah. It's for illegals. It's for people coming into our country and establishing residency in America. They get that money. If
I did hear that,
you don't get it.
Right.
My kids, my daughter won't get it. She's going to be a first time home buyer in 2 years. That's her goal. She won't see a dime of that. So neither one of them. They're politicians. They don't give a fuck. We're going to get off the topic.
They're not even politicians, which is why I can't even fathom that this is the fucking disaster that you and I have to fucking pick from out of 350 million people.
Yep. So where I was going before we had a political
back to Bob Ross.
So not even Bob Ross, but just the comment about the gas. Okay, so I chime in and I'm like. And I referenced the fact that the reason why gas prices were so low in 17 through 19 was because of, or whatever it was, because of COVID. Supply and demand wasn't what it is. Everybody was stuck at home. You can't compare the two.
All facts.
And then these two people, I'm not going to name their names. One says basically fine. Fuck off, Chris. The other one says, oh, you're smart, man, Chris. You can't really believe that. And I'm like, my question was, my question was to them was prove it.
Right.
Prove to me.
I've just given you facts.
Oh, I know. Yeah, prove to me. I wasn't giving facts. I was just saying, prove to me that the president / the government controls gas prices. I don't care how you prove it, but prove it, and I'll listen to it. Right.
Economics don't work that way.
No, and then they pointed out that Biden shut down the drilling in America. Okay.
And we still produced more barrels of oil than any country on fucking earth. Next question.
Right, which my response to that was, I understand that, but you're not answering my question. How does the president / government have any control of gas prices? So neither one of them could answer my question. They were just baiting me, and I kept saying, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not trying to pick a fight. I honestly want to know.
I followed this thread, but it's a great story, just so you know. Okay, I love this whole thing.
So then I Googled it. Like, the Google machine. And I typed in specifically what I wanted to do, what I wanted to learn about. Does the President of the United States control gas prices? Does the President of the United States and or the government control gas prices? The answer is no. There's been an $18.40 gas tax that's been in place for decades. Okay, city, state determine their own taxes based on whatever they do, which is why gas is way more expensive where I live as opposed to in Casa Grande, which is 2 hours, which is 45 minutes.
Because you have a Maricopa County gas tax in addition to possibly your city gas tax, in addition to possibly your state gas tax, in addition to the federal gas tax.
Right. So you have 4 different taxes
federal
going on.
Gas tax, Chris said, was the same. I want to make that clear.
$18.40. It has never changed for decades. The article clearly stated it, and it was a bipartisan article. It wasn't right wing, wasn't left wing. It was like, here's the facts, Jack. Okay. $18.40 gas tax, federal, been there for decades. Okay, it has nothing to do with the gas prices. Supply and demand, right there. Number 2, supply and demand. Whatever the supply is the demand. You're not going to waver off that because that's how America works. That's how capitalism works.
That's free. Was $1.85 a gallon during COVID when nobody was fucking driving.
Thank you. Okay,
you were all told to stay at home like little sheep.
Yes. Yes. And then there was another point that was real. Oh, it's the process of turning crude oil into gas, the refinery of it. The cost of that has gone up just because the cost of that has gone up because the assholes, speaking to, and I wasn't one of them, okay, because I vote. The assholes that voted for an increase in minimum wage fucked our country. Okay, when that came out, I told Nikki, you got to vote no. You can't vote no. You have to vote no on that because it's going to destroy all the product. Why do you think it's more expensive to eat out? Why do you think it's more expensive to buy shit? Because they're paying these punk ass kids $18 an hour instead of $8 an hour. So everything's gone up. When you increased,
but it's actually worse than that because
I know.
Those people that you're talking about can afford to pay those people $18 an hour. They can go fuck themselves. They can afford to pay those kids $32 an hour for the people that are listening. And if you don't think so, go look at what those fucking companies are making.
Right.
What you're talking about killed small business.
Right. Well, okay, so that's why I was
because
going
mom and pop could not afford to. And I'm talking mom and pop is like 1,000 employees or less.
Yes,
or 100 employees or less.
Agreed.
Agreed. These are businesses that didn't just employ 5 people. Some of them employed 500 people, and they went out of business because they couldn't afford to pay their people $15. Maybe they were paying them $12.50, but we can't pay them $15 and be profitable, right?
Right. And
so now all those businesses are out of business. And we're stuck with fucking Walmart and Taco Bell and McDonald's and Wendy's. And just so the people out there know, the same shareholders that invest in the companies that I just spoke about, guess what else they invest in?
Oil.
The pharmaceutical companies.
Oh, that's
Guess what Wendy's and McDonald's and fucking all that bullshit you're eating, and I'm guilty sometimes, not very often, but there's people that live on that. It makes you sick.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So those same people invest in pharmaceutical companies as well, heavily.
Yep. Remember the movie Super Size Me?
Yes.
Yep. Super Size Me. Google that shit. Watch it, boys and girls, because Super Size Me is the epitome of what fast food does to a human body. But yeah, and I apologize for calling you assholes for voting, but I'm just saying that the voting of that, because people don't research it. People just see, minimum wage, let's raise minimum wage. They don't understand the ripple effect to it. It's kind of like the butterfly flapping his wings in Japan and has an effect here, right, with the weather and shit. The ripple effect of that. It could have been, I agree that the cost of living raises and the cost of life raises, but they should have did that in a smarter way.
There shouldn't even be a fucking minimum wage. It should be just, if you're going to go straight capitalism, then it should just be either you treat your employees like Netflix and Google.
Yeah.
People love working at those companies because they understand that people are human beings, and they're like, you know what? If you can get all this done actually when you get done, you're done. And then your month is over, right? That's how Netflix works. They have projects, and when they're done with their project, if it takes them 3 days, they don't work again the rest of the month.
That's awesome.
Google has all kinds of flexibilities. There's too many companies out there that took advantage of that, and that's the point I wanted to make very clear, is Walmart and Target and McDonald's and all these businesses whined and fucking cried that they couldn't afford, and now your fucking Whopper's got to be $9. No, it doesn't. Go look at what Burger King and McDonald's made for the last quarter. Every company out there is making record profits. So while they're crying that this administration has been so fucking horrible to them, they all made, especially the oil companies, they just gouged the fuck out of you. And guess who you're blaming? Somebody who had
nothing to do with it.
And he couldn't change it if he wanted to.
Right. And those two that I was relating when I was responding to and I posted that article, neither one of them have made a comment back to me.
Who the fuck how are you going to tell those oil companies that they're not going to make all this money?
That's my point. I don't. If we're self-sustaining our own oil in our own country and not importing anybody, so let's say tomorrow
we could do that,
right? Exactly. We just say,
but then we'd be fucked in a lot of other areas,
right? But if we just said, all intents and purposes, fuck it, we're only going to deal with our own oil, our own profit. Okay, you cannot tell me that Chevron and Exxon and who all these fucking oil companies are going to say, oh, because we're drilling in America, we're going to give you a $2 break. Fuck you. They are not. They're greedy. They're capitalists. That's why they are in that industry, because it's supply and demand. It's one of those things that it's recession proof. Now, did COVID fuck them a little bit? Sure it did, but guess what? It only lasted for a year, maybe two, and they didn't hurt themselves. The reason why the gas prices shot up so sharply after COVID is because they
started driving again.
Well, they shut down so many of the refineries because it wasn't worth keeping them functioning, because people weren't driving, because the supply and demand was so skewed. They had to tap into all the reserves they were sitting on.
Correct.
So these
during COVID,
right?
During COVID, this is a fascinating statistic. There were oil tankers floating around the ocean that could not find port because there was already oil tankers sitting in port full of oil that nobody wanted. So guess what? If Chris and we run the widget factory and we sell 1 million widgets a month, and all of a sudden down the street, Tim and Eric, they start widget 2.0, and
fuckers.
Everybody likes widget. Yeah, fuck Tim and Eric and their widget 2.0.
Assholes.
All of a sudden everybody wants widget 2.0. We can't just keep making 1 million widgets a fucking month that are sitting in our warehouse, because now our profit margin is blown and we're out of business, right?
Exactly. So
guess what? Oil works the same way.
Same fucking way. Ignorance is bliss, man. So really, I understand your passion and your desire to have lower cost of gas and food.
We want it too.
Exactly. But trying to say the president has, and understand Mike and I aren't advocating for either fucking candidate.
No, they both suck.
Right. I still think John Kitchis, whatever the fuck, the Ohio governor, would have been a great president, but he got lost in the hoopla with the Biden-Trump first battle. They have no control of it now, and so for Harris to say, oh, by the way, Kamala and Harris, 6 letters each. If her middle name has 6 letters, there's the revelation, man. There's the coming of the beast. I'm just saying, you need to look in the back of her hair and see if she's got 666 somewhere. Total squirrel moment.
Fairy tales.
You can't. Even the government, like they're talking about. I heard something Biden when he was still running. Oh, he's going to talk about rent control. You can't force a landlord to not charge what they want to charge. That's the whole point of being in America.
Not unless you want communism.
Right. It's kind of like if I own a Circle K, I want to sell my is it Big Gulps or the 7-Eleven? If I own a 7-Eleven, I want to sell my Big Gulps for 25 cents. That's my fucking prerogative, man.
Right.
I'm gonna make up that smoking deal by charging more for beer, probably.
You can't say there's a national mandate that a Slurpee's got to cost fucking $5.50.
Thank you. And that's the problem that people wrap their head around, that are ignorant and just read headlines. Don't just read the headlines, boys and girls. Read the article. And then after you read that article...
But for Christ's sake, fucking read them from both sides. Don't get...
That's what I'm saying. Right.
So I want to repeat this at episode 52, 1 year later.
Yes.
Don't get married to your ideas, people. I love that fucking statement. Do not be married to any one of your ideas. Be open.
Absolutely.
Let people change your mind.
Read both sides. Read all the articles. Do your own research. If you want to find out how gas prices are you go on Google machine and you read 15 different fucking articles about gas. Which is what I did. And the one I chose was the one that was the most eloquently written.
The one you posted on the page?
Right. Direct to the point to where
easy to follow.
Right. You couldn't be like, oh, that's fucking bullshit, Chris. Because once I had somebody else on my page, because I posted on my page and I got zero interaction on it, which was funny because my page is interacted like crazy. Nikki's asking what I'm doing, so I'm telling her. And so one of my friends, really good guy, he chimed in and I was like, dude, did you read the article? He's like, no. I'm like, read the article. About 20 minutes later, I read it. Enough said, because he had nothing else to say. He had nothing else to say, and he wasn't being a dick. He legit was he didn't read it. So he read my statement, but didn't read the article and responded to my statement, which is the problem. And I'm not calling his name out because he's a cool dude, and I don't have any issues with him at all. I don't have any issues with the two that I was having a conversation with. I was just trying to get them to prove it to me that the government / president has control of these prices, and they couldn't do it. So then, I can Google, they can Google. So I just figured, well, fuck it, I'm going to Google and I'm going to see if I'm right or wrong because I wanted to know because they weren't answering my question.
You just hit the nail on the head. The most adorable fucking thing in 2024 is when two people stand there and get irate and hostile with each other when the fucking answer's in your pocket.
It is. And I did. And I read, like, I'm kid you not, at least
I'm guilty as well.
But I read at least 10 articles about it, and that was the best one that was straightforward to the point that if you found a way to argue about that, you just want to argue.
Yes.
Simple.
Yes.
That's it. You just want to argue for argument's sake, which, whatever.
And those people are out there, and you need to find each other, and Chris and I are not for you. It's like...
No. And that's when
once you get hostile or you won't listen to reason, I'm done.
Yeah. It's kind of like instead of unfriending people in this political atmosphere right now, I just unfollow them. I snooze them for 30 days. I
love the unfollow button because then nobody's feelings are hurt and you don't know I'm not watching your stupid shit.
Right. Well, and the snooze is cool too because the snooze just silenced them for 30 days and then in 30 days
come back after the election cycle.
Right. The 31st day, all of a sudden there they are again, and I don't have to like. Because everybody gets triggered. We're humans. So everybody gets triggered. I don't care who you are. I don't care what kind of human you are. You will get triggered. I get triggered. Mike gets triggered. It doesn't matter. It's part
guilty.
It's part of being a human, right? It's the free will. And you choose whether you're going to be triggered or not by somebody's statement. And I started seeing so much stuff on both sides of the political trail that I'm like, it was triggering me. So I'm like, fucking snooze, fucking snooze, fucking snooze, fucking snooze. Because then I'm not thinking ill will of that person. That person's not irritating me.
I have quite a few on my snooze right now myself.
Right. I'm not getting...
Have you come back to reality on the 31st day?
Right.
Nope. Okay, snooze you again.
Snooze again, exactly. So it's not laying that foundation of judgment because then you feel like that, right? Like somebody's like high on something and in your mind that's just not right. It's not accurate. It's in your mind it's like fuck you, that's wrong. Like you're just wrong.
You're fucking crazy.
Right. So instead
I just come out and say it.
No, but instead of allowing that to disrupt your thought pattern and then dwell on it, just fucking hit the snooze button, man, or fucking
And this is the most
them.
important point. Say that again.
Hit the snooze button.
No, the first part.
What'd I say?
And see, that's how the guy's like a prophet. It just fucking pours out. You said instead of letting it disrupt your life,
right,
and cause you anxiety,
yes,
hit the
just
snooze
hit
button.
The snooze button, man.
Don't sit there and cuss at the fucking screen. Those people aren't even there. They can't see you. You're like getting mad at a
keyboard warriors. Keyboard warriors. My wife. I sent the picture back, right, of what I was doing.
Yes.
She's at school and then she's got to go to this fucking weird little thing. I love you so much. That's 30 years right there. That's 30 years, and
that's awesome.
She gets the fact that I sent her a screenshot or selfie of Mike and I on the fucking show.
I will let you use your little sound effect for, what that's an applause moment.
I'm too far away from it now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. Applause. But that's cool. But that's just cool.
That is awesome.
That's why, I still
I've dreamed for that relationship my whole life, and nobody participated because for part of it I was an asshole, and
Yeah, but
by the time I changed my life, I didn't find the, whatever.
Yeah,
there's still time.
There's still time, man.
Yeah, not dead yet.
What you need to do is do some weekend adventures, man. Like
You remember I am not a typical human being.
I do. I do remember that.
There's not just any Mrs. Michaels out there.
I know.
There's somebody that has to understand that I got fucking quirks coming out my ears.
Oh, well, see, so do I. And that's the thing about Nikki and I. We've been together so long. It's just our quirks are our quirks. You know what I mean? It's just...
I get that, but everybody that doesn't understand that about me is like, I can't just go out and fucking meet anybody. You can't introduce me to anybody.
Yeah.
I'll fucking explode their head.
Yeah, yeah.
Think about it for 2 seconds.
No. As soon as you said that, yeah, that's true. that's true. But yeah.
Did you ever see me coming?
Yes and no. Because aside from once we got to know each other, there was, and even I really don't, and I'm not saying this as I don't ever recall a bad.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I was driven like you weren't gonna fucking stand in our way.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, we were both.
I was driven like a motherfucker back then. We all were.
Yeah, I think really the only I think had I known that we had the thing with Metal Blades record, I don't think I would have stepped away to deal with my shit. I would have said, okay, we need to pause this.
Yeah, we would have done everything completely differently.
Yeah, but that's part of life, right? Looking back on everything.
Yeah.
What would change, and there's not many regrets I have in life at all. Like I really don't. There's not a lot. Like I wouldn't have not stopped drinking when I stopped drinking, because I wouldn't have. But that's one of those things I had to do it all over again. If I would have known, and in my head, I think I understand why I wasn't brought into the understanding of what was going on with Metal Blades, because it may have changed our dynamic, which we didn't want changed because we were going down a path that was so unique and fresh in the Arizona music scene. That being the vocalist, because vocalists have to be narcissistic and on a certain level anyway, and they have to have an ego, a really big ego, because you're standing out there in front of complete strangers, bearing your soul. So you have to have this suit of armor.
Oh yeah, any musician.
In order to do that, and
just to get on stage,
right? And to have something like that knocking on a door, I could see. Looking back on me now, back then, how that could have fucked with me, in a negative way, right?
Yeah,
Does
we were
that make
young.
sense? Yeah,
yeah,
and so
we were all in our 20s for sure,
right? But more so than because I know who I am, right? I know what I do, and I may have started pressing harder on stage. I may have started pressing just harder as far as working and writing and singing and doing those things that it would have probably absolutely driven a wedge between Nikki and I, because then having Sky, then all of a sudden my focus is, well, fuck this, we're going to take over the world. Like, this is real. We're on that train.
Or it could have went the positive way, where it could have turned into a money-making business.
Well, that's what I mean. But that's what I mean. But the way
I'm just saying that could have just as easily went positively as it could have went negatively. We don't know.
No, we don't. But I think the driven part of us, and that's what
we know how far we took it.
Yeah, on basically handshakes and smiles.
Yeah,
because there was no internet, there was no social media. There's
we
no
just wanted to
MySpace.
fucking jam. We didn't give a fuck about money back then. We just wanted to
jam.
Want to drink some beer and jam.
That's why it was so much fun on the cruise,
Smoke some cigarettes, roll up a joint.
Right.
Fuck
right?
yeah.
That's why it was so much fun on the cruise, man. Fucking singing again in front of people, and next time I go on a cruise, I'm going to bring this outfit. I'm going to walk around like this for a day and just see if anybody notices. I have to come up with a name. Randy. Remember Randy from MTV? He had the peace sign in his glasses. Randy the hippie. Yeah, that's how it could be Randy. It could be Randy.
Randy the hippie.
Randy the hippie, man. I even have the peace. I have the peace chain, man.
I don't know. I like a hippie from Mississippi, though.
Well, I could be Randy the hippie from Mississippi. You know.
Oh yeah, I guess that's not a name. That's more like a tagline.
It's a statement, man.
The hippie from Mississippi, Randy.
Right, Randy the hippie from Mississippi, man. So what else do we want to talk about in our 52nd episode as we approach 2 hours, which I think we should wrap this thing up at 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm going to leave you with this. I found the one thing that I wanted to tell you about. It was from The Guardian, so if anybody wants to look this up, I just took a screenshot of it. But imagine this.
Okay.
I screenshotted this on October 18th. I'm not sure when it took place.
Okay.
Kentucky man declared brain dead, wakes up during organ harvesting.
Oh, God.
This is a true story. It's from The Guardian.
Wow.
Case of Anthony Thomas, T.J. Hoover II, is under investigation by state and federal government officials.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. So if you want to go to the article and read about it, I was just like, can you imagine? You're declared dead, and your little thing on the back of your driver's license says that you would like to donate your organs to science, which is a great thing to do.
Yep.
But
I'm an organ donor.
In the middle of it, Chris Dunham wakes up and says, "I ain't fucking dead."
What are you doing, man? What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop cutting into me, man. This is not the trip I want to go on.
I still need my wiener.
Still need my wiener. It's my wiener, man. You can't have it.
All right, brother.
Yeah.
I'm going to go get some food myself. So
Right on, my friend.
I wanted to leave you with that. That's such a happy little thought.
That was a happy little thought, you know.
But that's how I roll.
And for those of you that hung out with us for a year now, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you for sharing us and comments and keeping us rolling. And without anybody out there listening, it obviously wouldn't be worth doing. And we find it awesome that you find us awesome, and just keep sharing us with your friends. And if you want to be a guest on the podcast, reach out through Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or whatever. And
and we're serious about that. It doesn't. You don't have to just be you. We don't need. We don't care. Like legit. I'm gonna get Dean on, and you
we're
guys
not rich or famous.
No, you can go to my YouTube channel and search Good News Arizona. You'll understand who Dean is. I got to get a hold of Mike LaRose, the guy that was in prison for being an addict, and now he's out changing people's lives.
You can set all that shit up now, man.
Right. So it's just, and I figure I want to get Dean here first because Dean will be funny with the, oh fuck, how do I do this? You know, it doesn't need to be a serious thing. My buddy Mark Jeffrey, who was the behind all the traffic with iHeartRadio, iHeartMedia, the entire West Coast.
Yes, Chris used to be famous.
Well, you know, but he's a super nice guy, and he has just amazing stories. So I keep poking at him.
That's awesome.
And you know, I want to get him on. So there's three people right there. I think would be really cool to have.
I know we've been mentioning Tony for a year.
Yeah,
but poor Tony got hit pretty hard by Hurricane Helene. So thoughts and prayers and whatever people do go. Luckily, the house didn't get hurt. He lost a lot of outbuildings, though. He's got a pretty good-sized farm. He said the studio and the house was untouched, which is good, but he's got a lot of cleanup to do. So he said when he gets all that put back together, which at his age, he said, I'm hiring a lot of it done because I'm too old to get out there and do all that bullshit.
Right.
He said he'd get in touch with us, but obviously he's still coming on and still super happy, and he's out there listening and spreading the word. So
yeah.
Thank you, brother, for everything that you've done for us and helping me get the studio going. We can't wait to have you on here.
Agreed.
And first and foremost, and not last or least, thank you for doing this with me, man. I've had a fucking blast for the last year, and I can't wait to see where it goes.
And the cool thing about this is it's the legacy. It's a legacy we're leaving.
It's there forever.
It is there forever. That's the coolest thing. Like boys and girls, go on the Google machine and type in Chris and Mike Show fuck ton. And watch what to date is probably our best little short we've dropped, and it was purely because none of this is scripted. Like some people will script their shows and shit. None of this is scripted. Like
that's no fun.
Mike and I's conversation before the show is, hey dude, I'm getting ready to get on. Like me too, man. Today it was like, hey, are we doing today or Friday? Because we Mike doesn't work Fridays, so you know. And it's like today. I'm like, okay, because I'm cool either way. I'm like, I'm hopping on. He's like, well, so am I. and then I hopped on while he was jamming on his guitar. That's the extent of prep.
That was it.
So
are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So
here we go.
If you wonder why we have all these weird squirrel moments and different random topics, that's why. But that's
If you ever wonder why it takes the music a second to start, it's because Mike always forgets to play the music before he hits record.
Right, and if
he calls himself a dickhead.
Right, and if you ever wonder why it took Chris 53 weeks to discover the fact that there's media and I can insert laughter and cheering and clapping, Jesus. That's because I didn't realize that media button meant, oh, there's media.
I don't share the toys with him. He's out of control.
Right, so and I had my own little fucking. This is the fucking irony of this. Mike had a perfect opportunity to be like, "Hey, dude, I got an applause meter on the show."
There's something that's so endearing about that because that's how we started.
It's my little handheld.
I actually like that better than the other one, to be honest with you.
Because then you got that's the boo part.
So here, I'll leave you with this. Here's a classic example of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And I mean what I say, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
There's something endearing. Chris, those kind of things are what has kept me friends with him forever, because that's the level of ridiculousness you can get to is you have the smallest applause meter in the world and you play it through a fucking, so you play a 35-cent thing through a fucking $100 microphone, right? That's hilarious.
Exactly.
That's funny.
Exactly. That's it, boys.
The equivalent of that is James Hetfield is still playing his original Flying V that cost him like a couple $100. When you see him up there with that white Flying V, that is the only guitar he owned when Metallica started.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He still plays it for the millions of fans. So when you guys see him up there playing that, if you're a Metallica fan, that is literally the first Flying V that he's ever had in his life, and it's not anything fancy. It's just, it means something to him because it's been with him from the word go,
That's crazy. That's cool.
So we really look forward to seeing where this thing goes in the next year. And once again, thanks for listening and sharing us, and thank you.
I just realized my microphone was loose.
Hanging in there with me.
Mike,
I've come a long way.
If it wasn't for you, there wouldn't be me. So it is what it is, man.
Let me pat myself on the back. I've come a long way.
There's no Chris and Mike without Chris and Mike. So it
would be weird.
For those of you that are aware, it's not Chris and Mike because I wanted to call it Chris and Mike.
It was a democratic process. It's alphabetical.
Right. Because I've wanted to call all kinds of things. Like I wanted to call the band Mike Michael's band. Because I'm not that guy that needs to, even though we talked about, even though singers have to have egos and be narcissistic, it's just because of what we do. But I've never wanted it just to be on me, which is why Nemesis worked so well, because it was about us. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about you. It wasn't about Scott. It wasn't about Rick. It was about us.
As is this show.
Right. Which I told you the other day when you said, "Hey, your fuck ton video." I'm like, it's not my fuck ton video, man.
Though. It was your idea.
The only reason why the idea was there is because we were having a conversation and you led me there accidentally, and I'm like, "Fuck you, that's not true." And then there it was. So that's why it's us, man. It's always we. There's no I in anything.
And you know me, I was just like, hey, I was so excited that I'm like, that was a great idea.
It was just, and now we got to live up that shit. It's like sophomore slump. Like, what do we do now?
Well, I've had several people say, what did you do differently? I said, fuck, if we knew, we'd do it every time. I don't know. It was, the way you titled it was great. Mm-hmm. Have you ever wondered what a metric fuck ton is? That was brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
Because if I saw that, I'd be like, fuck yeah, I wondered what a metric fuck ton is.
Yeah. And that's the stupidity of shit, man. It's just, and the fact that people Google that. Obviously, they're Googling fuck ton or metric fuck ton because that's the only reason it's getting relevance and plays and shit. Now, if that shit goes, now, perfect world, that shit goes viral, right? Because it's on TikTok too. I put it on my TikTok. I'll have to go look at that.
I need to get a TikTok. I don't have one of those things.
Well, you could do a TikTok just for the show.
Yeah.
Right? Because when it's just my own TikTok. One. But I last time I went on there, it was shared a half dozen times, and it I don't know. 5,000-6,000 plays, so collectively it's probably 20,000 plays, everything now. So
that's awesome.
Let's go viral, man. That would be fun.
It would be fun, and I think it deserves it
because of a metric fuck ton. We're going viral.
All those years, I said that's a fuck ton or an ass ton, and here we go.
Here we go, man.
Hopefully, it leads to a fuck ton of money.
Exactly. Boys and girls, have a great day. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow's a better day. Understand that.
Don't let the bad days win, people.
Don't let the bad days win, man. Peace. Peace. Like literally, peace.
Peace.
Peace, love, and greasy chicken.
Randy the hippie from Mississippi signing off.
Signing off.